Hi. Hi, hello, and welcome to another Whip Basics review. This time it is about the Shogun. It is this one. This whip looks quite ordinary. You know, nothing special, nothing you would say, oh wow, from a distance. But when you come closer, the whole thing changes massively. First of all, this whip is created or was created by Giovanni Celeste, a famous whip maker from Italy. And to be honest, if somebody asks me for a recommendation for a whip maker, I always say in Europe, when it comes to leather whips, I recommend just one guy, Giovanni Celeste. Well, and I'm not paid to say that, okay? Just for the records. So, this whip is from the so-called Spiral series. Well, I was about to call it the Master series because there is so much craft in there, so much talent, so much passion. Yeah, I call it the Master series. And this one is, like I said in the beginning, the Shogun. Oh, by the way, this means Shogun. Very important. So, okay, let's start with the handle. This handle is a so-called spiral handle. It looks quite simple, but it's a lot of work just to create the handle here. That's a lot of stuff. You have that wood. The wood is split 2 times, and then you have 4 endings. And then, in a very time-consuming process, these 4 single, let's call it strands of this wood, are turned. It takes a lot of time and patience, because if something cracks or breaks, well, then the whole thing is done, and no. Like I said, it takes a long time and it takes a lot of experience. So, the question was, oh, this is quite thin. Can this fragile part here, can this fragile part really carry the whip when you throw it? Yes, it can, because inside the wood, there is a steel spike. So if you crack it, the chances are much higher that your wrist will go like that instead of breaking anything here. Definitely not. Okay. The idea, and therefore the Shogun, was to create a whip that has at least the touch, the idea of the Japanese culture, the Japanese martial arts culture. You know, a good katana is not colorful with a lot of bling bling and stuff. It is plain and simple, and so is that whip. The main idea behind this whip, behind the construction, is, or was in the beginning, the planning, to say this whip should be extremely accurate, and it is extremely accurate. I tried it a few times, and in the beginning I had the idea that somebody is in front of me pulling a string so that the whip goes exactly in a wonderful, nice and straight line there. Usually from a new whip, I expect it to a bit more, not so precise. But this whip, right out of the box, was absolutely straight and clear in a wonderful, straight and nice line. Okay. The only thing I really, I say, oh, come on. The color of the whip is, it points to the Japanese cherry wood. And believe me, we tried a lot of different things to catch the different tones, the cherry color tones in this wood in the sunlight. With the eyes, it was wonderful to look at it. Wonderful, these reflection and these different shades. But the camera is limited, and so it looks plain brown, but it is not. It is anything but not plain brown. This whip has more. This whip was constructed with the idea in the back of the head to make it precise. Well, I already mentioned that. But here you have a braiding, a plaiting that is strictly made after the famous form follows function idea. Okay, so no fancy plaiting, no fancy patterns or anything. It is just very, very, how can I say that? Very strict plaiting. Always back in the head of the maker, because that was important for that whip, that the plaiting should assist the ability for the whip to roll out like this. And it did. I mean, when you look at it, it looks quite simple. Yeah, absolutely. It looks simple, but it's not. There is another special thing on that whip, and this is the fall. You have a classic fall hitch here, and the fall is made from Dyneema. It is a tapering Dyneema fall. Dyneema is often used for crackers, so this is quite a unique thing, because it is nearly indestructible. I think, well, I'm pretty sure, I know that every whip handler who had a whip with a leather fall experienced this sooner or later, that the fall ripped, the cracker ripped up a piece of the fall. Yeah, here, no, definitely not. Definitely not. Dyneema is an extreme strong material. And then look at this. This is, I think, I don't know, 200, 300 kilograms without a problem, with a fall. Okay, don't see it like this. You hold the whip here and then you have here 200 kilo. Yeah, okay, the leather would rip before the fall does, okay, just to set things straight and clear. No, it is about the fall here, because the fall is the part who has the most abuse. The fall will always be dragged around the ground, torn around in the grass, wherever. And a leather fall is a fine thing. But, like I said, there is a risk that it will just rip. This won't ever. The whip has a shot back right in the beginning here. This is, imagine like a empty strand of nylon which is filled with little metal spheres. And this adds to this forward momentum of the whip when you just flick the wrist and the whip goes down in a nice and straight line. Therefore, the short back in here. While I tell you about this, you will see a few pictures of the making of the whip. And well, already you saw it in the meantime here with the short back. It's a quite interesting thing because a lot of people have the idea, well, it's wood and then leather and that's it. No, it's not. There are inner layers, there are bolsters, there is a lot of, how can I say this, binding. I mean, the inner layers, if you just leave them open, the whole whip would look like a cooked noodle. Useless. No. You have the core, then you have a binding, you have a bolster, you have a neck, you have again a binding, you have another bolster, you have a binding, and you have the overlay. Before I talk about the leather and the speciality here on that leather, I show you a few samples how the whip behaves. For example, with this target stand. It is not the most difficult thing in the world with a whip to hit a target that is like that. Yeah, but it is a problem and you need a very good eye, you need experience, and you need a good whip to hit a target that has that size. Okay, and I'm going to show you how that looks. And now about the leather, the rawhide. And this is raw, okay? What is the difference between rawhide and cowhide? The price, yeah, Well, I already made some videos on leather when people sell whips and advertise made entirely from raw. Yeah, and then the bolsters are from cowhide. Don't get me wrong, cowhide bolsters are perfect because they soak in the leather dressing, they add to the weight, to the balance, it's perfect. But cowhide is cheaper than rawhide. Okay, so the bolsters here are also from cowhide. But Giovanni is absolutely clear about that fact, and that's the thing that I love. A whip maker who is really clear about the materials inside the whip. I mean, it's not so problematic to make a whip that looks fantastic from the outside. Yeah, you know the old saying, no guts, no good? Yeah, here, guts and good. And now my special idea on the whip. Giovanni Celeste usually uses shellac on his whips, which is a good thing, absolutely. It gives the leather a nice shine and it prevents it from becoming dirty or too dirty, and it helps, it makes it easier to clean the whip. but it also protects the leather from aging. And what I really like is the look of natural tan rawhide. It is fantastic. I mean, the Shogun here, when I opened the box, it was kind of pale. But after a few days in the sunlight, it started to darken. And it started to darken in different levels, shades. The natural rawhide darkens very individually. That means when you have 3 whips made from natural tan, very important. And 3 people have these whips and crack them and use them. And after 4 weeks, you bring these 3 whips together on a table, you will see 3 different colors. Some whips made from natural tan rawhide, they just become a little bit darker. Others become nearly dark black brown, and there is everything in between. That makes it such a unique material. Yeah. If you're interested in that whip or in that style of whips, just contact Giovanni Celeste. And well, I hope you like this video. If you like, you can click like or subscribe to this channel. But the most important thing is, when you spend your money, and a whip is everything but not cheap. When you spend your money, then make sure that you spend it on a real good thing, on a really good whip. Okay, good. So, I'm Robbie Emperor. This is Whip Basics. Thanks for watching, and well, here's to the next one.